Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars and determining whether or not I think they can win the AFC South in the upcoming 2021 NFL season. But before getting to that topic, question for those of you viewing. Comment down below, especially the Jaguars fans out there, but any NFL fan in general. Do you think the Jaguars can win this division? I want to hear your guys' opinions. But getting into the topic and looking at my opinion, the AFC South is not going to be an easy division. Yeah, there's some perks. There are some pros and cons to both. And you do have a generational talent quarterback coming in to play for your franchise. However, tough division, rookie quarterback. Typically, those things don't click year one. Yes, I understand. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence could be turning this thing around, and that's the big reason I'm making this video, because Trevor Lawrence, he's at least making this a conversation to talk about. But in reality of how much it actually comes into fruition, we'll have to see. Looking at the teams in the AFC South, or let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars in general. Looking at their team, Trevor Lawrence is going into a system that things are going to go south badly really quick, or things are going to ascend really good for them. And it's just, we won't know until they play on the football field. Looking at the draft overall, outside of Trevor Lawrence in the second round, they drafted Travis Etienne. I like Etienne. I do think he's a great running back, and not taking anything away from himself as a player. But as far as where he fits for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not 100% on board with them drafting him, especially in the first round. The Jaguars already have a relatively good backfield. James Robinson makes a case to be the best rookie running back in the past year. I'm not sure he's the best in my opinion, but he, like I said, at least makes the argument between him and Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, other guys out there. James Robinson is a viable back that the Jaguars can work with, and they have Carlos Hyde, a pretty good backup running back as well. Travis Etienne, I think he might even get the starting job, but I just don't think it was a huge necessity for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They also drafted Tyson Campbell, a pretty good cornerback that could definitely help out possibly CJ Henderson if he bounces back, and a newly signed corner in Shaquille Griffin. That is a big piece for this Jaguars team to have a lockdown secondary. I don't know if it'll be lockdown, but they need at least some talent and depth there. And then in the pass rush, you have Josh Allen and Miles Jack kind of holding down the front line and front seven. They also drafted a offensive tackle, Walker Little, to protect Trevor Lawrence. We don't want to see what happened to Joe Burrow his rookie year happen to Trevor Lawrence his rookie year. We want protection for Trevor Lawrence. But overall, even though I don't agree with Travis Etienne being in the backfield is one of the better ones in the NFL as well. Trevor Lawrence, generational talent. As long as he's not a bust, if he lives up to what he's supposed to be, he's going to be a great quarterback and automatically be one of the better ones in the NFL. The receiving core isn't too shabby as well. DJ Chark Jr., you signed Marvin Jones Jr. this year. Laviska Shenault, a pretty good rookie wide receiver last year. This is a pretty good wide receiver core that Trevor Lawrence can work with at least his rookie year. And rumor has it he might be throwing the football to Tim Tebow, former Florida Gators and former Denver Broncos quarterback, who might be transitioning tight end now that Urban Meyer is coaching there. And of course, Urban Meyer is a factor as well. Is he going to be a hit or miss in the NFL? Urban Meyer, it seems like wherever he goes in college, he brings success. I'm not a Jaguars fan, but I'm hoping for the Jaguars' sake it does transfer over to the NFL, that he brings success wherever he goes, and it's an immediate click between him, Trevor Lawrence, maybe Tim Tebow, Travis Etienne, so on and so forth, the other guys on that team. But looking at the Jaguars as a whole, they're a relatively solid team, but can they take on the AFC South? Looking at the AFC South, you're dealing with the Titans, Colts, and Texans. I do think the Jaguars automatically will finish better than the Houston Texans, assuming Deshaun Watson isn't playing for them. I don't know that exact situation or how it's going to be resolved, or if it's going to be resolved, or just what is happening there. But assuming there's going to be no Deshaun Watson, I think the Jaguars are a much better team. Texans don't have a lot to work with. They lost D-Hop a few years ago. They don't have the greatest backfield between David Johnson, Mark Ingram, and Phillip Lindsay. There's no dominant number one guy in my opinion. The receiving core, like I said, lost D-Hop a little bit ago. They lost Will Fuller this current year, and now they're kind of looking at Brandon Cooks and Brandon Cooks only. Defense lost J.J. Watt. That was your only saving grace, I guess. Texans, they're free falling. There's a good chance they might have the number one pick next year. I do think the Jaguars will jump them. Colts and Titans, this is where things get tough. I'm very bullish on Carson Wentz in the Indianapolis Colts. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to turn his career around working with Frank Reich again, his former offensive coordinator with the Eagles. I think that's going to be an immediate click. But Carson Wentz being injury prone, if the guy goes down, now all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars are really only competing with Derrick Henry to fight for the division. And Carson Wentz has his injury history, like I said. So it's not, I wouldn't count on Carson Wentz getting hurt. I wouldn't, want to put all my eggs in one basket and just count on that, and that's what I'm betting on. I'd rather bet on being the better team, but I'm just saying that could be a plan or a thing that goes in the Jaguars' favor if Carson Wentz goes down. I do think if he's healthy, this is going to be a pretty good Colts team between Jonathan Taylor, who is arguably the best rookie running back in this class, along with James Robinson, like I just said. Decent receiving core, Michael Pittman Jr. getting a little bit better, Jack Doyle, reliable tight end, and then, of course, T.Y. Hilton coming back. And then, like I said, in the backfield, it doesn't stop there with Jonathan Taylor. There's other talent, too, with Nyheim Hines and a healthy Marlon Mack. Once he comes back, a pretty solid offensive line, and defense is probably top 5, top 6, top 7 as well. Xavier Rhodes, Darius Leonard, the team's pretty good when it comes to the Colts, when it comes to the overall roster. There are question marks with the receiving core. There's no huge receiving, number one. T.Y. Hilton used to be great, but he's getting up there in age. And Michael Pittman Jr., we expect him to take a big step forward, but we have to see it come into fruition for sure. Defense, that's pretty solid. Offensive line, that's still solid. And then, of course, another question mark is going to be Carson Wentz. And then looking at the Tennessee Titans, like Ryan Tannehill, he's above average quarterback. Derrick Henry, enough said right there, arguably the number 1 running back in the NFL. If he isn't, he's top 3 at worst. The receiving core did lose a couple pieces in Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith and Adam Humphries, yet they've already started to address it in the NFL draft. You still have a top 10 receiver in A.J. Brown, who's really an up-and-comer and showing that he's one of the better receivers in the NFL, if not one of the best receivers in the NFL. Looking at the defense, you signed Bud Dupree, you got Jeffrey Simmons, you signed Janoris Jenkins, you did lose Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson. Like I said, those guys are being replaced when the Titans drafted Caleb Farley, a arguable number 1 corner in the NFL draft when healthy. Does have some health issues, especially with his back surgeries, but if he's a healthy corner, I do think it'll pan out well and go in the Titans' favor. So looking at the rosters, if Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be what he was supposed to be, you can make the argument he wins the quarterback matchup in this division, assuming Deshaun's not there, obviously. A Texans quarterback who we don't know, is it going to be rookie Davis Mills out of Stanford? Is it going to be Tyrod Taylor? I do think he wins the matchup there. Ryan Tannehill, that's where it gets close. Ryan Tannehill, he's not the flashiest, he's not the prettiest, he's not the greatest quarterback, but he is the most efficient and productive quarterback, one of the most efficient and productive quarterbacks in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is going to be hard to overcome him already. But if he's supposed to be what he is supposed to be, like I've been saying, he's going to automatically be a top 12, top 15 quarterback in the NFL. And I could see him jumping Ryan Tannehill quickly. Same thing for Carson Wentz. He's a big question mark this year. Is he going to turn things around and get back to his possible MVP form? Or is he going to be what he was last year but continue to descend and only get worse and be a turnover machine? I'm not sure. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. Looking at the backfield, Colts, it's tough because the Titans have the star-powered backfield. They have the number 1 back amongst those teams. When you consider overall talent across the depth chart of the backfield, like I said, the Jaguars have 3 pretty good running backs in James Robinson, in Carlos Hyde, and new rookie Travis Etienne, and the same thing with the Colts between Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor, and Marlon Mack. But of course, I can't count out Derrick Henry. Typically, only one back needs, if you only need one running back to steal the show, then you're probably in a good situation if you don't need other guys on that depth chart. Receiving core, arguable. You got star talent, like I said, in the Titans again. But when it comes to depth, I do think the Colts and Jaguars have a little bit more. Defense goes in the Colts' favor 100%, in my opinion, when it comes to that division. But sometimes, no matter how much you want to analyze, how much you want to speculate, and how much you want to compare on paper between these teams, when they play, it's sometimes, especially between a division rivalry, it's just who has a better day on the football field. One guy might be better than the other, but one guy might have an off day, and one guy might be playing the best he ever has on a single day. So it's a day-to-day thing, and we have to see them actually play. On paper, I can only speculate and assume and guess and predict so much, but I do think I'm not going to pick the Jaguars to win the division. I'm not. But I do think they have a shot. Rookie quarterbacks, they sometimes come out and win. Look at Andrew Luck. His rookie year, all he did was win. He didn't go on to win a Super Bowl, but he won and he was productive, and he already changed the franchise around completely. And Trevor Lawrence, he's being compared to a guy like Andrew Luck. He could turn around this franchise quickly. Really, I don't expect this Jaguars to make the playoffs this first year. I don't think anyone does. There's just too many new variables between Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Urban Meyer. Those are three supposable, I don't want to say Urban Meyer's a starter, but three supposable starters on this team, or three big factors on this team that you're expecting and asking to win right away. I just don't see it happening. I like this Jaguars team to improve a lot and fight for anywhere between 6 and 9 wins, but to actually win the division, I don't see it happening. Derrick Henry's going to continue to steamroll, and I believe in Carson Wentz to really go on. I don't want to say an MVP year, but a comeback player of the year. I like this Colts team a lot, and until I see Derrick Henry slow down officially, I can't count him out yet. I do got the Jaguars overcoming the Texans. Now if Deshaun Watson comes into play, this whole division is going to change, not just this video and this prediction. The NFL will change if Deshaun Watson comes back and stays at the Texans or go elsewhere. But overall, I like the Jaguars to improve a lot this year and possibly fight for the division. But if I had to pick, I would say no, they don't win it. Maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, Trevor Lawrence could easily own and win this division every year. But as right now, not even seeing him play a single snap in the NFL, I can't give him the edge just yet. But like I said, coming in rookie year, being a generational talent, I would not be surprised if things turn around in Jacksonville and goes in their favor really fast. But of course, as always, guys, comment down below your thoughts. Do you think this Jaguars team will win the division? And of course, as always, again, thank you for watching. 2-minute warning.